Continuing our breaking news coverage on CBS Sports HQ, I'm Chris Hassel with Amanda Guerra. The NCAA making it official. The NCAA tournament has been canceled for 2020.
Yeah, Chris, the NCAA initially earlier today said they weren't going to make an announcement until tomorrow. But given everything that has transpired over the past 24 hours, they did make that announcement just within the past couple minutes. The NCAA issuing this statement. I'm going to read it to you. It says, today, NCAA President Mark Emmert and the Board of Governors canceled the Division I men and women's 2020 basketball tournaments, as well as the remaining of all winter and spring NCAA championships. This decision is based on the evolving COVID-19 public health threat, our ability to ensure the events do not contribute to the spread of the pandemic, and the impracticality of hosting such events at any time during this academic year, given ongoing decisions by other entities. Chris, you just think about how many people, how many universities this impacts. Somewhere close to 1 million people have tickets to the NCAA tournament events. Of course, you have 68 teams. None of that's going to happen. This is very disappointing. But a lot of people saying we understand the reason for this.
I think a lot of people were hoping for the word postponed instead of canceled.
Exactly.
But that is not the case. As Dennis Dodd told us a little while ago, he believed that this was eventually going to happen, that the NCAA was going to have to pull the plug and cancel the NCAA tournament, men's and women's. Done. There will not be a tournament this season. Let's go to the phone. Bring in Avery Johnson, who as recently as last season coached the Alabama Crimson Tide. Avery, you've been in the NCAA tournament. What is your reaction to this unprecedented news today that the tournament has been canceled?
Well, it's the right thing to do, Chris. As I've been saying all along, this is Adam Silver. His leadership with the NBA, this is where it started. I know obviously we've had 2 cases with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell that contracted the coronavirus. But I think this all started with the NBA. Mark Cuban's done a really nice job of representing the entire ownership group here out front in the public with a lot of his comments. And then let's just give credit to all of the conferences who made the swift decision not to play their conference tournaments this week, and other tournaments, other conferences followed. But I just think this is a great example of tremendous leadership, and it all started with the NBA, and it trickled down, obviously, to college basketball. But very disappointed for the kids, but at the same time, it's all about the health of the student-athletes, coaches, fans, and the media.
Put yourself in the shoes of some of the coaches that were getting ready to get their teams into the NCAA tournament. Someone like Bill Self, who was very upset earlier today when it was reported that Kansas was going to pull out of the NCAA tournament regardless of whether or not it happened. And that statement ended up not even needing to come out from Kansas. But as a head coach, how would you take this news? What would you say to your players?
Well, during this time, when you say you're a coach, you're also a mentor, you're a father figure, and your players are looking of how you're going to respond during the time of adversity. Are you going to pout, or are you going to be about what's the best decision for the entirety of the program and the well-being of the students' athlete health and welfare? So you want to model that type of behavior and professionalism and character during tough times like this. So hopefully all of the coaches throughout college basketball will be a tremendous example and provide leadership during this time, disappointing time, but yet a very changing time in our world.
What do you think should be done about the players who were supposed to run out of eligibility this year, the fifth-year seniors, or the seniors that were getting ready to play in the conference tournament and were hoping to play in the NCAA tournament and have this taken away from them? Do you think the NCAA should step in and say they get 1 more year?
Oh, I would love for that to happen. Those kids can get 1 more year. I'm all about kids having an opportunity to stay in college and experience the college lifestyle as long as possible. And I've said it for years, and you and I have done games on CBS Sports Network, and we even talked about kids that have applied for the NBA draft, and if they don't get drafted, If they want to have an opportunity to come back to school, allow those kids to come back. So if this means a lot of those kids can have an opportunity to come back and participate and play another year in college, I think it's going to be good for college basketball. And for those who are aspiring to go to the NBA, another year in college playing before you go to the NBA, I think that's going to be great for both sides.
Where do we go from here, Avery? Look to the future. Of course, we certainly hope that everybody's going to be okay, that when we get on the other side of this thing, that the world is still going to be the same as it was. But how do you take your team into the future in this unique scenario and case?
I just think it's hard because there's no real finality to it this year. And, you know, March Madness has really been about March Gladness. When you're playing in March Madness, people are excited. Teams are excited. You got underdog teams. You have maybe a 16 seed that can upset a 1 seed, and that team will remember those memories forever, especially at their 10 or 15-year reunion 10 or 15 years from now. So there's not any finality to this season. So the main thing you have to do right now is just gather your team together, talk to them about life. And it's not just about basketball. We preach that to our kids as basketball coaches, but talk to them about, you know, hey, let's finishing this year off academically as strong as you can. Take really good care of your body. Make sure you listen to all of the warning signs about how you can contract this virus. So I think it's very important for kids to understand the whole overall balance of what's going on, which is not going to include basketball, but also their health and well-being. Academically, I know a lot of kids are going to be taking classes online, but just take care of all of those other necessities in life, and hopefully we'll have a basketball season that starts and finishes next year.
This isn't just the teams that were going to make the tournament who are going to be affected by this. I mean, there's conferences, major conferences like the Big Ten who have suspended all on and off campus recruiting. And you know, as a head coach, a lot of head coaches are not very balanced. I mean, every single day is a work day. When all of that goes away, you're not allowed to do anything. What do you do?
Well, you better find another. You better pick up a hobby or do something, because I know the grind of a college basketball season. You don't have time for anything. I mean, a lot of coaches, like I did, you had a bed in our office. And you spend the night in your office, and you're trying to problem solve. You're trying to figure out the next drill to help your team pass the ball better, or space the court better, or play defense. And you're meeting with players and trying to figure out how to have that connectivity with your players so that they'll trust you more, you will trust them. And, you know, when that's all taken away and you don't have an opportunity to work towards something, it's a difficult adjustment, Chris, but it's one that the college basketball coaches and all of the players and staff, it's an adjustment that they are forced to make right now.
That is Avery Johnson, former head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, former NBA head coach and NBA champion, joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. I liked what Avery had to say. I mean, he's taking it all in stride, saying that this is bigger than sports. I think he's the head coach you want in this kind of situation. I know he's not a head coach anymore, but that's the kind of coach you want, not the one that's going to have a big blowback and say, we were wronged, we should be playing this tournament.
Yeah, it was really refreshing. It made me smile just to listen. You said, what do you tell your guys? He goes, you talk to them about life, which was really nice, and that says a lot for Coach Johnson. Really quickly, going back to some of the developments that we're seeing here, of course, we're following the breaking news that the NCAA has decided to cancel the men and women's tournaments. The Big Ten issued this statement just within the past 15 minutes or so, saying that in addition to that, they are completely canceling every spring and winter sport, including those that go beyond the academic year. A lot of people have been asking questions about the College World Series, so this is included in that. It said it's taking all of their students out of any NCAA tournaments, competitions. Also that a moratorium, you mentioned this, on all on and off campus recruiting activities for the foreseeable future. So this is going well beyond the scope of just this tournament that was supposed to happen. It is just tremendously affecting everything. I want to bring in our Gary Parrish to talk about this, specifically going back to the NCAA tournament. Gary, I was looking at your Twitter timeline, and you said about an hour ago that you would hope that they would postpone this tournament, not cancel it. However, that is not what happened. They did decide to cancel it. So just your reaction to that.
It's obviously disappointing, but also understandable. You know, we as a world are going through a very serious pandemic, and sports is the least important part of this. And I say that as someone who, you know, makes a living covering sports and talking about sports and loves sports and would love to watch these college basketball teams that have spent months and months and months building to this moment be able to see it through. Even if seeing it through meant postponing for a month or 2 or 3 or however long that took. But I noted in that same tweet, I'm not ignorant to the logistics that go hand in hand with that. It would be a very difficult thing to do. And, you know, the timing and the calendar complicates things because you have right now conferences shutting down practices completely. So we're going to bring back teams, you know, in theory, you know, 3 months from now and play a tournament after they went months without practicing. What do we do with the players who decided to, you know, get on with their professional aspirations? And so, again, I understood that it would be complicated to try to postpone rather than cancel. It was still just a hope, a wish. But either way, it's a moot point now. The 2020 NCAA tournament has been canceled, and while you do feel sick for the coaches and players who will never get this opportunity back, it'll be a what-if moment in their lives forever. Obviously, it's important right now as a human, not as a coach or a basketball player or a basketball columnist. It's important as a human to understand the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is much more important than, you know, who holds a trophy at the end of a 68-team tournament.
Gary, let's go a couple months, a couple years down the road. Looking back at this, how historic is this moment and what's going on right now in the world of sports?
Oh, I think it's an all-time crazy sequence of events. I mean, you know, nobody envisioned this. No reputable person that people were paying attention to, at least, envisioned this as recently as a week ago. I mean, think back to just less than 24 hours ago. The NCAA had decided to continue to play the tournament just without fans. You know, just this morning, the conference tournaments were going to continue just without fans. But it became clear once the conference tournament started canceling. Honestly, it became clear once the NBA shut things down last night that playing the NCAA tournament next week under these circumstances was risky and unlikely. And so I'm surprised by nothing that's happened today, given what happened yesterday. But to answer your question, when we look back on this, it'll be, you know, it'll be a 30 for 30. It'll be an incredible documentary. How our entire country, sports included, were shut down by a virus that quite clearly we now know with the benefit of hindsight, a lot of people didn't take seriously enough early enough.
Gary, you know, we heard from the Big Ten just that this is not just this tournament. These are all the spring and winter sports. I'm sure we're going to see this from other conferences as well. Also, no recruiting. I think it's a little probably early for this because everybody just needs a chance to breathe, to work through this, to work out their emotions and the logistics of what's happening. But these universities, these teams, these players and coaches, where do they go from here? Kind of what are your first steps moving forward?
Well, literally speaking, you go home and you be with your family and you try to follow what the leading medical officials in this world are telling us to do, which is refrain from gathering with large numbers of other people. Try to keep your lifestyle as simple and as isolated as possible. And, you know, let's, as a country, one of the leading countries in this world, try to contain this before it gets worse. You know, the World Health Organization told us yesterday that this is going to get worse before it gets better. That seems inarguable at this point. But the goal now should be keeping it from getting as worse as it could possibly get, as bad as it could possibly get. And so we should all focus on that starting this minute, and everything else can go on a back burner. And ultimately, I do believe things will get back to normal. All indications are that they will. And so this is all unprecedented. There's nobody you can call if you're a college basketball coach or college football coach and ask, hey, what did you do back when? Because there is nothing like this in our modern history. But eventually we will be back to normal, and people will recruit again, and people will coach again, and people will practice again, and people will play again. But it seems clear at this moment that it's not going to be this month, and it might not be for several months.
Gary, before I let you go, I just want to ask you, you've been in this business for so long. From your vantage point as a reporter, as somebody who covers sports, you're top 25 and 1. It's famous across the country. You've been working up for this moment for so long. What is this like for you?
Personally speaking, it's really weird. I'm supposed to get on a flight tomorrow, fly to New York, be in studio for CBS Sports Network Saturday, Sunday, come home Monday, fly back Tuesday, be in studio for the NCAA Tournament, the first Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come home, go back, come home, go to the Final Four, and you look towards a target date of that national championship game, the first Monday night in April, and that's when you thought you'd be able to take a breath a little bit. Now, I can go home tonight and put my suitcase up. I'm not getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm not getting on a plane anytime soon. And so to have, the college basketball season so abruptly, have it end so abruptly is obviously odd, but my life is actually tangibly impacted by it. My plans have changed drastically by this decision that was just announced. And so it's just a strange feeling. You don't ever think that the season that you cover daily, hour after hour after hour, is going to end in such an abrupt and strange way, but here we are.
All right, Gary Parrish, we appreciate you so much, our college basketball sports insider, just one of many that we have here on CBS Sports, and it has been a strange 24, 48, 72 hours, to say the least.
Yeah, to say the least, and actually about 24 hours ago, a little more than 24 hours
We're sitting
ago.
right here.
Yes, we were, and I was speaking with Dennis Dodd, and Dennis Dodd said he had heard from a high-ranking official that they are considering the idea of canceling the NCAA tournament. That's the first I had heard anybody say that. 24 hours later, it's happened, and we have Dennis Dodd back with us. Dennis, that statement by you yesterday kind of sent shockwaves through the sports world. It was everywhere because no one had considered that. At the time, everybody was saying, wow, are they really maybe going to play without fans? Now it's not going to be played at all.
Yeah, I'm sorry I was right, Chris. It's a sad day, in sports and society. I just want to give a shout out here to the NCAA. It's easy to criticize them at times. I thought they showed tremendous leadership with what they did today, canceling all the spring and summer sports, including, and I think this is significant, the College World Series. That is a tremendous event, my favorite event in college, even more than March Madness in Omaha every year. And there's a cautionary tale to be written here. Baseball is going to postpone for a month. Well, the NCAA baseball is not going to be played this year, or at least they're not going to have a championship. So if baseball comes back before late June, they may know a little bit more than the NCAA knows. We're all assuming this is going to go away soon. We don't know. Football starts in less than 6 months. And you talk about people gathering for an event. Are we going to have this thing beaten by then? I don't know. That's why it scares me. The NCAA took a bold step today. We're through talking about insurance and money and stuff like that. Let's talk about the kids and heartbreak. And what do these seniors do? And let's get through this thing as a country. Let's beat this virus.
You brought up the College World Series and how that's going to be canceled. It has been canceled by the NCAA. That takes place in Omaha. You live close to that area. Omaha was supposed to host a first and second round of the NCAA tournament. I mean, the impact on the schools and the players is
today. We're through talking about insurance and money and stuff like that. Let's talk about the kids and heartbreak. And what do these seniors do? And let's get through this thing as a country. Let's beat this virus.
You brought up the College World Series and how that's going to be canceled. It has been canceled by the NCAA. That takes place in Omaha. You live close to that area. Omaha was supposed to host a first and second round of the NCAA tournament. I mean, the impact on the schools and the players is certainly on the personal level, but how about an impact on a city like that? Kind of a mid-major city, so to speak, that doesn't get huge events, but relies on the College World Series and the NCAA tournament. Now they get neither.
And has been the host of this thing, I think, since the late 40s. You have people there that have literally gone to this thing for 50 years. And it's everything you could dream. It's 8 teams coming in with a dream to win a national championship. They've done a great job with TD Ameritrade Stadium. It's only a few years old. They've built up what I would say what's called a baseball village around it, where you can do anything you want. You know, you can have food, you can eat, you can drink, you can buy baseball equipment, you can do anything you want. And the city opens its heart every year, every June, and that's going to go away for a year. It'll come back. Everything will be fine. But it makes me sad a little bit that in the middle of, you know, I think for 22 straight years, I went to one part, not all of it, but maybe one part of the College World Series every year. And there's a hole in my heart right now.
Men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament, the wrestling championships, the College World Series, the list goes on and on and on, and we won't be able to see any of that this year. Certainly, most of us understand that, understand why, and are applauding the NCAA for taking this stand. But there are some people out there, many I would imagine, that were hoping the NCAA was going to say, okay, let's pump the brakes here, let's postpone it, see how things go over the next week or two, because things have been changing so rapidly. Why do you think the NCAA took that gigantic step to basically cancel everything?
I think they got sage medical advice. Look, there's an advisory board they were working with, including the great Brian Hainline. He's their chief medical officer, but they were working with the CDC and others, obviously. I think the message here is this is not going to be gone in a month. And I hearken back to yesterday when Bill Self brought this up, or somebody at the Big 12, Anthony Fauci, if I could pronounce his name right, the advisor to the president and I think an executive with the National Association of Allergies. He said it's going to get much worse before it gets better. And what that looks like in this country makes me shiver to think about it. But we don't need large gatherings of people together to watch sports. So I don't think this was going to be better in a month, in 2 months. And now you're talking about kids who want to get on in life. You know, so I hear the discussion about seniors having their opportunity taken away. Well, there's a lot of people that want to go on and get with the world. I use the example of the Ivy League people. You know, they had their tournament canceled. Those players that participated in spring sports played their last contest last spring. I don't think we have to worry about Ivy League athletes. Most of them are going to have fine jobs after, but they're missing something too. And at this level, yes, they're going to be missing something, but I don't know if you can have a national tournament when, look, these guys are interviewing for jobs. Not all of them are Zion Williamson. I need to remind people. They're going on in the world. You know, how late is late? I can't answer that question. Is it June, July? And Gary made a great point. How do you even clear the arenas, for that? There are concerts that are going to come back online once this thing passes. I don't know if you can even have it. I think it's great to go dark for a year and then come back and reset.
It was about 25 hours ago that Dennis Dodd first said that there's a chance the NCAA might cancel the NCAA tournament. They've gone far beyond that. I mean, it's now into the College World Series, all spring sports. Each step of the way here, we've kind of been asking, wow, are they going to do this? Are we really going to have no fans at the tournament? Oh, my gosh, maybe they move out of bigger sites into smaller sites. Oh, wow, are they really going to cancel the tournament? What's that next question? Like, what's the next thing we should be asking about?
Well, after making sure everybody's okay and healthy, we're going to have to ask the question of what to do with these spring athletes that are, I guess, seniors. Do they get an extra year of eligibility? Is the NCAA going to do that? But again, I'm not holding the NCAA's feet to the fire on that. I think that's a question for way down the line. And again, a lot of these basketball players may have played their last game. I was just texting my son this afternoon, and he kind of said, well, how can they do that? I said, son, life's not fair sometimes. And if this is their last basketball game, it's their last basketball game. If some seniors get another year of eligibility, great. That's not at the top of anybody's list right now. I think we got to let this thing settle down. We can talk about the eligibility thing later, and let's just hope that football goes off on time.
Wow. Already looking all the way down the road to football, which isn't scheduled to begin until late August, but that is where we're at right now. Dennis Dodd joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. I'm Chris Hassel with Amanda Guerra. The news today from the NCAA that the men's and women's tournament, along with the wrestling championships, the College World Series, not postponed, canceled.
Yeah, it's really hard to wrap your head around. And your heart just, I mean, it goes out. We work in sports for a reason because we love it so much. And you know, I mean, even as a little kid up and through high school and college, what these athletes go through to get to these moments. And while you understand everything that's going on, your heart just goes out to them as well as the coaches. One coach we were just hearing from, it is Jay Wright, of course, the Villanova head coach, who was scheduled to play a game tonight. That is not going to happen. No dance for them, no dance for anybody. This is the moment he found out the NCAA tournament was in fact canceled.
Wow. Just incredible times. I mean, this is going to be, this is so historical, you know, and like I said, you like to be prepared for everything. Like we're just going to have to go let the guys know, and it's sad for them. This is a big issue in our country, and it's serious, and I think it's the right thing to do.
And overall, that is what you're hearing. That was the right thing to do. All right, CBS Sports, who broadcast some of these games, just released this statement. As was just announced, the NCAA has canceled this year's NCAA Division I men's basketball championship. We are fully supportive of the NCAA decision. It goes on to say, and we will continue to work closely with the NCAA, Turner, and all of our partners as we prioritize the health and well-being of everybody involved.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.